What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 30 of my Total War Warhammer 3 Elspeth von Draken Immortal Empires campaign. Sorry about the delay on this one, folks. Unfortunately, maybe a week or so ago, I had to return to work to put out some fires a little earlier than I originally planned when, while planning out my vacation, but frankly, this happens pretty much every damn time I get a vacation, so you get used to it. When I was free, I was running the 4 campaigns at once, MALEKITH, Elspeth, Archaon, and Tamarkan between the, well, I guess the 2 channels, and still had time to myself. It was a beautiful time, but beauty fades. That is why it is beautiful. Anyway, don't forget that I work full-time, so when my time is limited, I got to choose where best to use it. And sadly, Elspeth's previous episode had like half the engagement of MALEKITH's, with the interest dropping off a cliff. So, triage situation and all that between the campaigns. Anyway, I should be getting to finish off my vacation, so I should similarly have time to finish off all 4 of these campaigns before starting on Kislev. That said, we're gonna see how the engagement for Elspeth goes in this particular episode and determine how soon we end this campaign off, and if it remains significantly below MALEKITH's, I'll probably move this campaign to the other channel. Frankly, I probably should have done that earlier, but it's all good for now. Anyway, for those of you who remember or don't, as we saw last time, Balthazar Gelt engaged with the enemy using his Hellstorm rocket batteries. Unfortunately, between them and the Luminarchs, it was a little bit of a problem trying to get an actual cinematic going, so I think what I might do is swap out the Amethyst Hellstorms into a different army, an army that doesn't have the Luminarchs, which actually require micro, and swap it to an army that does not require any micro whatsoever, and keep Gelt using those Luminarchs as I feel like they belong with him. Granted, the Hellstorms also kind of belong with him, but, you know, no other army has a significant number of Luminarchs, and it sort of pays heed to the buffs that Gelt has in SFO, which is the second orb of sorcery buff, which gives buffs to steam tanks, and Luminarchs might as well not be getting unused to the SFO concepts, as well. We'll be back to SFO before we know it, as it's nearly here. Anyway, in terms of what we gotta do this time, I gotta keep moving. The Cathay is, well, if not quite pretty much ours, in the sense that we still have a lot of our allies here. Elspeth is pretty much done in it. Generally speaking, it seems the idea of Nagashazar being Elspeth's final battle for the campaign went over well, and we still have a little bit of work to do in a few places, but we're certainly heading towards the end, rocketing towards it, I should say. Anyway, Elspeth, you are going to, what do we have here? Knock out Admiral Canovale, I guess. I think you probably won't need to fight this, as it's just piles of garbage. And, well, I mean, Dark Shards are good, it's just that, yeah, they just get obliterated from a distance, so not the kind of army that would threaten Elspeth's army, is what I'm getting at. So just to rip this apart, and we'll find harder battles than this, I'm sure. Hey, 900 schematics, not so bad. Oh, wow. Okay, I guess we're gonna have to heal up the 2 Hellblasters. They're getting hurt again. I wonder why the auto-resolve doesn't like those Hellblasters. Wow, another Trickster Shard. What the heck is going on with this frickin' other Trickster Shard thing? Usually in campaigns... Wait, where are they? Yeah, this, look at this. Usually in campaigns, you get like, or me maybe, I get like 1 or 2 other Trickster Shards. What the heck is happening here? Why do we keep getting so many? Nearly every single one of our wizards on the battlefield or on the map has another Trickster Shard. It's very, very strange. Basically every wizard has an armor of silvered steel and another Trickster Shard, which is really interesting. Not that I'm complaining, because it's a solid item to reduce enemy defenses against the magics, but it's still somewhat odd, if nothing else. Anyway, Elspeth, move on over here. Fu Chao was our next target, and we certainly want that Great Dragon Fleet port, though alas, it's only tier 4, so we won't be able to take it at tier 4. But oh well, still tier 3 will be nice. Andreas Meyer, I believe you can't really move while Morathi is sort of hanging around with multiple armies in the same location, so just wait sort of here until one of the armies essentially exposes itself, and perhaps I could have said that differently, but you know, on the other hand, it's Morathi's faction, so anyway. Yeah, so if an army becomes isolated, then you can attack it, but multiple armies together won't work, at least not for you. Deconstructor Zintler, you're heading to Rothgar Spire with an easy little auto-resolve, I imagine. Yeah, easy little auto-resolve indeed. And occupy the place. Alright, soon at least you'll be done with the remnants of Malekith's faction. I mean, he still has that full army, which we have to chase down, but we'll hopefully get to it. Let's see, Helmut Feuerbach. You were headed, I believe, to deal with Kairos. I mean, we could also send you to deal with the Legion of Asgore, in theory. Or would Boris von Sighofen be able to take care of the remnants of the Legion of Asgore by himself with his flagellant army? I mean, now that we've knocked down their main tower, they only have the Crookback Mountain remaining, and it doesn't have those Dreadquakes available to them, which makes them a lot less threatening to this army than they were before. I think we can deal. Meaning, you're gonna go over here for the Felcargo instead. Grab that and then head southward to Kairos, and we're just going to assume that we don't need you. Besides, you have that plague, and we don't want to implaganate anybody. Arms and armor versus barrels of rum. I mean, you're probably going to fight within the next few turns. I almost never get arms and armor, but, try it. What do we have here? Ensorcelled Blades, actually a fairly strong buff, as well as a free power stone, that we can certainly put to good use. Also, you seem to heal at sea, which is quite interesting. This is a neutral sea, a completely neutral sea. Oh, actually, it's the neutral most of seas, as in it's the sea, as in it's not, like, coastal territory that is neutral, but rather it is belonging or can belong to nobody. Except, of course, Manan and Stromfels. Anyway. And Mathon, I guess. Boris, but Stromfel's superiority. Boris von Sighofen, you're going to try to hunt down Draj, so keep going this way. I think this is all Chaos Corrupted, so we can't quite move outside of in-camp stance, but hopefully he turns and goes for us rather than going for the Fortress of Vorag. Though it's looking like he's heading directly towards it. Imric, maybe you should move back and defend it, lest you lose it. Emperor KARL Franz, you... Oh. This is kind of a problem. Go into March stance and try to chase down Malekith. In March stance. Maybe, it seems that he's going either for Clark Harond or for Venom Glade rather. Although, I guess Venom Blade is something that the Dark Elves would appreciate as well. But anyway. Maybe if we're in March stance, Malekith will be like, oh, we should take the opportunity to attack this army, and then, you know, promptly gets wrecked, but we'll see. Let's level everybody up just in case that does happen, as we will be fighting with March stance if it does. Max out Regrowth, of course, and get Arcane Conduit and then Earthing, because we overcast Earthblood with pretty much every single time it's up. Soulfire, of course, for the Warrior Priest, and out of this... Probably go Tenacity or Inviolable. I mean, you have decent armor. Augury is fine as well, and these guys are unbreakable. Actually, since they're unbreakable, that makes Inviolable or Tenacity the better pick here. Let's go Tenacity, I guess. It's not very good on these guys because they don't have a huge HP pool and they don't have a way of regenerating, but it's still better than nothing. Plus, a little bit of a higher effective HP because they have those defensive capabilities due to their ward saves, and that's fine. Or ward save abilities, I should say. Woundmaker for you, Empire Captain, I guess? We could also get your... let's get your resistances first prior to Woundmaker. Who knows? Malekith has magics, his forces have range attacks. It's all a distinct possibility. Anyway, KARL, sit there. Everybody else? So who else needs to move? I'm not even sure. Oh, looks like nobody else does need to move. I'm going to assume that we did the buildings last episode because I don't feel like looking through them right now, so we're just going to go to next turn. Clan Angren wants to trade now. After breaking our alliance and getting everybody to hate them, even the other dwarves hate them now, which is kind of hilarious. Well, nobody likes an Oathbreaker. Oh, well, they're starting to repair their relationship a little bit, but broken treaties with us, -61. Yeah, nobody likes an Oathbreaker. So, yeah, anyway. We could maybe even keep them alive. It really depends on whether they get into a fight with the Wood Elves or not. I don't think the Wood Elves would ever attack Karazakarak. The thing is, Karazakarak is way, way too strong. The only thing that could happen is if the Wood Elves attack somebody who's in an alliance with Karazakarak, but I don't think anyone else is. All the other dwarfs are sort of have friendly relations with them. Oh, these two aren't even trading, probably because the Clan Angren broke our treaties. I think we're safe in that regard, then. It's unlikely to happen. The Wood Elves would never attack Karazakarak directly, and judging by the fact that Karazakarak isn't attacking anyone themselves, and I think they were refusing to join other wars, I think they're not going to do anything. Anyway, it looks like that's an end turn to me, so an end turn it shall be. Let's see if anybody's close enough to reach us. And Drazuath, did you attack and take the Fortress of Orag? No, I have no idea where he went. Malekith will go for Venomglade. And what will he do with it? He will sack it? Or is my game frozen? Okay, he'll sack it, and then I don't know where he went out, for the love of... We're certainly gonna have to keep giving chase. Durthu, Military Alliance. No, you're a maniac, and you'll attack one of our allies. No, thank you. Let's see where Malekith went after that. Alright, so he's continuing to march up northwards. We can go right beside him, like so.
Let's go.
And yeah, this is gonna be one of those annoying situations where, well, maybe Eltharion will move before him, although somehow I doubt it. Eataine and Illyrian Confederation. That's kind of surprising. I wouldn't have imagined that Eataine, or Illyrian rather, was damaged enough to warrant the Confederation, but also wish that Malekith wasn't wasting KARL's time and would rather just fight him, but well, whatever. Alright, repair this place and repair it. Ugh, it's annoying to get these locations sacked since they're red territories, and in fact, I think we're gonna have to host Festag here as the public order due to the sack will not be so great. Hopefully Malekith doesn't keep moving in march stance. We can't summon any heroes here, eh? Or anywhere near here. I was thinking if we summon a hero to block the army, that might be helpful, but it's not looking like it. Anyway, Elspeth, you're moving now. There's nobody to defend Fuchao, so that's what you're going to attack and take. And, these guys are going to take... I didn't see the name of the place, but another place that belongs to this territory, which I would have preferred to keep for ourselves, but whatever. I'll resolve this for obvious reasons. Oh, that one didn't hurt the Hellblaster volley guns. I don't know what to do with you, Auto-Resolve. Occupy. Iron Curse Psychonon, there we go. Oh, damn, I should have been watching the money to... because I was curious as to what degree the 10% tradable resources and 20% tariffs would have raised that, but oh well. Also... Okay, the landmark is only the port. I don't think we need the Wizards Campus here. We're much better off going for the tap room and the Weaving House, so that's what we are going to do. The growth would also be needed, although fortunately the Special Harbor will give us decent amounts of growth. Now, fairly unlikely that we reach either or both of these. We might be able to reach Chimai before these guys do, although it's somewhat unlikely. On the other hand, it's not a big deal. We could just sort of leave it and have Elspeth teleport. We could start her journey on towards Nagashazar right now, should we desire it. Or we could teleport around here, have her help out with the destruction of Drazuath before doing so as well. Certainly potential in that. Anyway, for now, Boris, you... Wait, is this Chaos Corrupted as well? It is not Chaos Corrupted, lovely. Go into regular stance, no, go into channeling stance, man. This army really has basically had no magic for the entire campaign, has it? They barely ever get to cast anything. Which is funny because they have 2 wizards, but whatever. Hopefully the Amber Wizard will get his Griffin mount soon. 22. And at least he can fight rather than casting, as he can't cast with no mana. Anyway, Balthazar Gelt. Okay, what do we have here? Greasy Goldtooth is back up and running. Oh, I really hope he doesn't go around this way. Is he at war with... Oh, he's not at war with our allies, so we're fine. Most likely he would be able to reach the Great Hall of Greasus, which I'm sure he is looking to retake. We are building some stuff for Balthazar Gelt here.
Empire.
Alright, here's how we're gonna do this. First of all, Bertie Pritzcock, you're gonna move this way. Belthy, I would like you to run up here. Since we're going to trade the Amethyst Hailstorms out of your army to another army, and we can then get you more Nuln Ironsides or Amethyst Ironsides, and we can get you some more tanks. We'll probably do a little bit of global recruitment to get you some of those super tanks, Hellblaster tanks, but I guess for now, you can use the 2 other units of Emperor's Wrath tanks, simply because, once again, we can recruit them anywhere and it's fast. And then if we can recruit a couple of other tanks, just for variety for him, we'll do so. We also have other stuff available here, more of the Eldred's Guard. I was thinking about putting some of those into his army as well. We'll also need to trade his Hailstorms, probably to this army, and then transfer them over to Ulrich Puttkamer rather than have him use a pile of cannons, which isn't super necessary either. His mages are on the way. They can just barely reach his army by the looks of it, or one can.
And mirrors bring forth items of power.
Huh, I thought that one couldn't.
From the mists.
Yes, they both can. Weird. I thought I checked and the max they could move was like here, but then when you click on the army directly, they seem to have been able to. Not that I'm complaining, mind. Anyway, also, Land Admiral Zintler. So, I think we're all in agreement that out of the characters generated from this campaign, Land Admiral Zintler was probably the most memorable. I'm just thinking about which character from this campaign we will keep on the channel. And he's had a lot of playtime, and I like his idea. Kind of thinking that he was sort of a Navy admiral that was drummed out of the Admiralty for being a little bit too wacky, maybe putting guns that were too big on the on ships and stuff like that, similar to Queen Bess type guns, but even bigger guns, which exist as Queen Bess exists and as an Imperial gun for Imperial siege ships, but well, you could always do wacky and dangerous things. Anyway, and he keeps styling himself an admiral on the land as well. Anyway, you're gonna move southward towards Eldar's Spire. Boris, you cannot reach to transfer those sky junks, but you're nearly there. And oh, for the love of... Okay, wait, maybe if Boris moves in... Why would the auto-resolve not like the Thunder Barges? Of all the things.
Pick up the pace.
Maybe with the reinforcements they won't die and we can still auto-resolve.
This is it, man.
Alright, go, 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 and how about this? Ah, this way they won't die. Thank you, Boris. Appreciate it. And occupy. Lovely. And these things are healing, not quite as well, I would wager, as the rest of our units, because they don't share the sort of healing buffs that those particular units get, but that's alright. Ooh, we also need to keep an eye on Welch. Oh, wow, what the heck is this? That's a lot of skin wolves. Huh. Cover the glacier encampment, please. Well, let's see if they try to sit still and live at Iron Frost or survive at Iron Frost, or whether they try to loop around. Loop because of the wolves. I'll try to loop around or go for us. Just occupy. I don't know whether he had enough movement to sack, and we will probably trade this territory away as well, so we don't really care about it. Don't bother collecting the income just because I don't want to deal with any rebellions if I should forget to transfer it over. Alright, back to order. We gotta find ourselves a proper fight. Andreas Meyer. Could try to go for this little shipwreck here. Oh, I don't want to move so far. Okay, well, just risk it. Just risk it. There is a stack here with the Morathi. Maybe she'll head out to sea. Ah, damn, that's not good. Wait, explore the island. Auto-resolve. And heal to maintain relative full HP. How are we looking? Morathian March Stance wouldn't... Oh, because this army is here, wouldn't be able to reach us, but... we can't reach this Black Ark either, so the question is... do we move away? And I think we still try to maintain some distance as this army gets attacked. We still need this army to... fight one-on-one rather than multiple armies at once, and it's not like we really care about the Black Ark with one unit in it. Mechanical Steed, Treasury, nothing in terms of buff pickups, but that's alright. Yeah, these guys are really in a deadlock. Alright, well hopefully we can break it by moving KARL down there eventually. Deconstructor Zintler. We can leave Drekla Spire to land Admiral Zintler, so you can deconstruct Chimerica Spire instead, and oh, right, because it's a desert territory, we can actually theoretically hold it. Not that we really intend to.
This is it, man.
Occupy.
Begin modifications.
And what, 4 more territories? 3 more territories? 1, 2, 3... Yeah, 3 more territories, and then we're out here with the Cult of Pleasure nearby. That'll help break the deadlock. Alright, what about you? Are you close enough to destroy Tamarkan for good?
If you want it done right.
What do we have in terms of defenses here? Boris is moving there. What we could in theory do is move right beside it. Watch Boris just sack it, but move right beside it. And maybe Boris will attack. Give him a chance to attack together. This will, however, allow Tamarkan to get a few units up and running, or at least a few additional units up and running, I'm sure.
Anything for Kislev.
He could also potentially attack us here, but either way I think it'll be fun, so I'll leave it there, rather than auto-resolving it. Helmet. You still have a fairly long way to travel down to the Temple of Skulls, so we'll keep on traveling and healing while you do, sir. Hopefully you can heal at... Oh, you're still going to be in the Sea of Dread, so you're fine. And you'll still heal up to more or less full before you get there and land. Ah, the blue scribes are out here. They're being very much wasted not doing anything there. Marcus Streetsman, you're still sitting here waiting for the potential of Bellegarde to attack you. This is just a meme army with a bunch of guns that we've effectively seen already, so I'm not super concerned about this army, just need something there in case we get attacked. Emil Braun. You no longer serve a purpose now that Cathay is pretty much gone. I suppose we can keep moving you northward and or send you out to sea to gather schematics, as some of you have suggested in the comments, though if these guys don't get completely destroyed, we may want to still have you stick around here and defend the territories, because Elspeth's going to be gone, so let's move you up north for now, and then we'll see. Frankly, if Cathay gets completely destroyed, as in the enemies in Cathay get completely destroyed, we can simply delete that army, as its only purpose was to auto-resolve stuff. Tech Thieves, do your thing.
To new discoveries.
Not that we really need them to steal all that much in the way of tech anymore at this point in time. Success, success, very nice. And one more success. There we go. What's our tech? 837, and that's still not enough to get this down to 1. Damn. Huh. It looks like Imperials have a harder time researching than Dwarfs do in that regard. I think everything's down to 1 in Malekith's after 600% research rate, although I suppose at the same time... I don't remember who you two were. What are you? Tough. And what are you? Weapon Master. Who are you two? I don't remember building these guys. Were they maybe picked up when we confederated the Middenlanders? Or did I build them for some reason that I am not aware of? Oh, actually, no, I did build them, I think. Let's send you up northwards. It's been several days, and now I'm not remembering what purpose you guys served. I think I was going to send them to Boris Todbringer's army. Though, to be perfectly frank, the Todbringer army would be much better in... SFO, because you actually have access to Knights of the White Wolf there, so you can make a very Ulrich-themed army, whereas in vanilla, since you don't have access to them, it's kinda... eh. There we go. With the Swords of Ulrich being literally the only thing that you can do to theme them that way. Anyway, I do believe we are good in terms of moves. We got a little bit of buildings to build. I don't want this to bog down into too much in the way of admin, but on the other hand, there isn't really too much admin to do, so we can just quickly take a look at what we've got here. Cathay territories. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's upgrade you. Without materials at sea, also, this is going to be a lot more expensive than it once was, sadly. Obsidian Peaks. Ah, we also have to choose a new tech. What's the likelihood of you attacking Storag Core? Circle of Destruction, fairly likely. Storag Core, I think not, so let's do that. Serpent Estuary, Dai Chang will upgrade you. Let's get you growing as well, since we've taken you over. Pig Barter, let's max you out, even though we already have the landmark. And I'm still not sure whether we care that much about it, other than the fact that it is a landmark. 4.8k. to build a town here. That's a little bit crazy. Not that we really need the money for recruitment or anything else, but for now I think we can hold off. Public order looks okay here. X-Bite Pass can be ignored. Bamboo Crossing, let's start with Wiley Village simply because of the salt, which we don't otherwise have in that province as yet. Weaving House for you, and I guess Tap Room for you, and then keep on growing, just upgrade everything. Fairly simply. Altar of Ultimate Darkness, we'll do the Weaving House, but we won't do the growth because of the expense. Shangwu, let's upgrade you and go for the farm as well. And nothing else here, and Nongchang, no, Shiama's Rest, we were going to do the landmark here. This was a landmark we actually very much wanted. And that's all we got money-wise. Next up, I believe we're going to go Scion of the Empire, just so that we can potentially confederate Wolfheart before he disappears or before the campaign ends. And skip, and the turn. Let's see what MALEKITH does this time. Stop running and fight KARL. He's in March stance. You will never have a better chance to kill him. And I don't know why money is moving. Grukmar 3 Horn will do something to... Did Boris just back off rather than attacking? He did. Boris, you little coward. We had our entire stack ready to reinforce you. You've been disappointing me this campaign quite a lot. Decline. We're not piecing out with Greasy. Alright, I guess we'll do one more fight with Tamarkan. You're going to attack Clarkaron now, for the love of... You are being so annoying right now, MALEKITH. So you're gonna sacrifice this army for what? For what? This is just the typical AI, just being annoying for... And even though it serves no purpose to do this. And the amount of sacking that this army is probably getting out of all of this is very minimal because these places weren't really particularly invested in. And he's not retaking them, and now his army is dead because he can't run from KARL.
No peace,
Assuming that KARL wins, but I'm going to go out on a limb in here and say he's probably gonna win. Ally mission aborted. Imperial Pegasus, yeah, that's all great. I want to check whether... we got one more turn until the next Karlberg Greatswords. Would have been nice to get... Well, I guess we're still too short, so we're fine. Just to double check that there's no missions to kill MALEKITH. I'm actually at 100 allegiance with you, but we'll take the mission anyway. Kuhan, MALEKITH, yes. Accept mission. And... I guess Drash, we are going after you. Can I accept the mission? Huh, weird. I think it accepted the other mission. Not that it matters all that much. Marathi still sticking around, and these get... What are you doing, elves? Constantly asking myself that question. What the heck are the elves doing? Admiral, and Admiral. Okay, so we have one army that's far away and 3 admirals. And just take one of the admirals. It's not like we really care about this particular mission either. Anyway, what we do care about is fighting Emperor KARL, friends, versus MALEKITH. Pyrrhic victories. While MALEKITH himself is going to be tough, and ooh, they do have that Dark Conduit, which is going to be very dangerous to our melee troops. MALEKITH versus KARL should be a particularly interesting matchup. They're roughly even in terms of levels as well, in which I'm excited about. MALEKITH's stats 70, 74, 785 versus 78, 48, and 757, so MALEKITH wins in the stats department by virtue of his melee defense being significantly higher, and the fact that he can use Soul Stealer to heal himself repeatedly. That said, he has a massive amount of physical resistance, but KARL will do magical damage and sunder his armor as well, and Galmaraz's damage buff should be able to out-damage MALEKITH, though whether it out-damages his healing, well, let's find out. Well, the Empire certainly does endure, at least so far as we've been leading it, so looks pretty good. KARL probably pretty darn grateful to Countess Emmanuel and Elspeth as well. Anyway, KARL will be facing off against MALEKITH here, and we'll see how he does in his one-on-one. Of course, we will advance the rest of our army forward as we do, and the tanks can fire whilst moving, and both of them will do so. As well, gotta get a few of those shots of those cannon and hellblasters firing. Okay, let's just normal speed it, and there we go. One, and hellblaster, fired something. There you go. Alright, and this particular force is fairly blobbed up, so that's probably not going to go so well for them. KARL moves in, and he and Deathclaw will be delivering the first blow to MALEKITH, which looks like it takes off about 10%-ish of his HP, which is pretty decent. And down below them, a Dwellers Below will activate from our Life Mage. We don't usually provide damaging type of magical support, mostly because I enjoy having units fight it out. But this time around, the enemy were just so blobbed up here that I felt like we had to. Looks like MALEKITH is getting a little bit of support here as the Siren of Red Ruin is taking shots with her railgun at the relatively exposed Backclaw and KARL as well. The same thing can be said from some of the enemy Dark Shards. The Crows of Cain are also moving in to try to get to KARL as well and reinforce MALEKITH, which is a shame considering the duel is going relatively evenly. I'd say KARL is winning by virtue of the fact that MALEKITH is down to 30% of his HP and KARL is closer to half, despite the fact that he's getting support. Anyway, our Empire Captain was chasing around the Crows of Cain, rather, in the hopes of us actually being able to stop them from getting to KARL, but oh well. In the meantime, the Karlberg Great Swords and the Reiksguard alike will move on and towards the enemy units that are still fighting. Got some Dread Knights, or the Knights of the Ebon Claw, here as well, facing off against Reiksguard, though of course we do have a lot of anti-large bonuses on our Reiksguard due to them being part of KARL's army. Looks like MALEKITH decided to go after the Empire Captain simply because he was losing against KARL, and the Empire Captain will book it on out of there together with the Crows of Cain, leaving these two to continue duking it out. KARL has lost his buffs, but he has activated his healing potion. I also got to point out that not once throughout that fight did we actually pop any heals on KARL himself, as in he never got the he never got regrowth and he never got earth blood. I just wanted him to have as close to a one-on-one duel between the two as possible, and it looks like MALEKITH will be brought down at last. And there we go. There we go, and Deathclaw will land to feast upon MALEKITH's mount. In the meantime, the rest of his forces, MALEKITH's forces, are in pretty bad shape. Ooh, over here we got a nice little duel between the Sisters of the Singing Doom, Witch Elves with their extremely high melee attack against a regular, not even Karlberg, a unit of greatswords. That said, in a direct sort of contest like this is not a particularly good matchup for the Witch Elves, who don't have the armor piercing to really do too much here. And even though our own armor piercing is wasted because the great swords have armor piercing and the sisters don't have armor, and they still lose about half of their HP and do little to no damage to those great swords. Very nice. That's what armor will get you, and the enemy has not a lot of armor piercing. In fact, out of curiosity, how much armor piercing do we have on these daggers? 11 compared to 33 base weapon. Yeah, pretty big difference, I would say. Anyway, with that, MALEKITH's army will book it on out of there. Fairly quick battle, but, well, the enemy army got pretty much crushed. We took very little damage on most of our forces, and let's face it, MALEKITH lost pretty handily up in the skies as well. But he deserved it for a number of reasons, not least of which was running around and annoying us by attacking our undefended settlements to little purpose. Alright, there we go. Lovely little duel between KARL and MALEKITH while his army got pretty much obliterated by ours. 131 kills on the units of Reiksguard. Very nice. And we also saw the great swords get it in on the action fairly well here. Lovely. A lovely battle indeed. We are going to praise or pardon. Praise or pardon. Does it matter in any way? No, pardon. There we go. MALEKITH falls. Ally mission successful, and we got Frenzy for KARL, though I'm not sure, but I think he might have already had it because of Death Claw. I'm not 100% on that, but he could very well have. Anyway, KARL, keep moving southward or back southward where you were going before. Take the Temple or the Val's Anvil, rather. And hopefully these guys won't spawn the new army at Witchwood and head to the Temple of Adeoth before moving like this, as... Oh, as that would just be a repeat of the annoyance that we had to deal with here. Elspeth, I don't believe you will be able to reach Chima. It doesn't really matter all that much. And I did say everything south of the river, which would mean only Fu Chao. But nonetheless, see if you can go here. No, it doesn't look like you can. Alright, that's fine. That's fine. Just get back to Fu Chao then, and then we'll probably teleport you. We will need to build the teleporty hub. I guess. Oh! Wait. We could send her to fight Kairos until we're ready for the final battle. There'll certainly be something for her to do. Which of these goes to where we need to? Not this one. That one will go to Hexoatl in the Jade Court. Is it this one? No, oh, it's the one furthest down the coast. Meaning it's this one. I almost forget which one. Alright, that's fine. This one will get us to the eastern colonies. Elspeth, go into march stands, head out to sea. And away you go. It's going to take you a few turns to get there, but, well, if it takes too long, then we can always teleport as needed. Boris, you can at last trade... and the 2 sky junks to this army in favor of those 2 war wagons. How are we in terms of your troops? We got another Swords of Ulrich. Don't have any Knights of the Everlasting Light, but that's one more turn, and then Nordland Mariners as well. It would be real nice to trade some stuff, but whatever. You can head to Drekla Spire. Let me guess, it won't let us auto-resolve again? Maybe with Boris's help. You know what I maybe should have done? Wait. Well, either way, Boris, go here. I'm just wondering who should attack this. I wonder if Boris would be able to auto-resolve this without help. There's basically not much there. What if we move you away slightly? Can you auto-resolve this without taking damage to the Thunder Barges? I should also distribute these things. The Seal Standard was for Boris himself, the Razor Standard was for the main Swords of Ulrich, and I guess we'll pop the Banner of Eternal Flame on the White Wolves. Does the Banner of Eternal Flame make sense for an Ulrichite army? It does, because of the Flame of Ulrich at the Great Temple of Ulrich. There you go. Auto-resolve. And occupy. And this way, that doesn't hurt our barges. Lovely. Potion of Foolhardiness, Iron Coast complete, and we will go cancel the Burgomeisters here as we do. You, sir, can I guess start moving? Okay, you've got to travel now. You know what? If we send you down through Storag Korf, through this temple, then maybe the enemy won't have a chance to be sneaky about anything. Also, you can channel. Channel and heal, etc, etc, etc. Let's try to get one more battle going. Ebon Pfeiffer. Oh, I just realized these guys are not sitting at Iron Frost. Okay, no, they are sitting at Iron Frost, which is good. Will they sit there and wait to die is the question, or will they run? Guess we'll find out. Go into raiding stance. Maybe this will prompt... Actually, you know what? Don't do that. Go as close to the enemy settlement as possible. Here's the thing. If they run, we may want to sack it and then go after them lest they move down here. I don't see them being able to attack the Altar of Ultimate Darkness because they don't have Siege Attacker, I wager. They do not. Which means they could try to go down to Eldar Spire, but in that case we can just move maybe Boris's army back to deal with them, so that'll be fine. Avoid that annoyance. Andreas Meyer. Morathi's still sitting at the Moon Shard. There are defenses here. We don't know what's in her army either. The problem is we also don't know where her other armies are. What we really need here is a hero. I'm holding out for a hero. We need a hero to identify what's going on here, or, you know, borrow one of these armies. We could do that, as we're probably not going to use any of the Elven units at the time. Certainly an option. You know what, Andres, just wait. Let's see what else we have in terms of our options, and then we'll figure it out. Also, I wonder if MALEKITH will come back before his faction is wiped out. It will I was about to say it would be nice to get his frenzy trait on somebody, but frankly the tank units don't really care about it either, so it's not a big deal. Also, one of them has it, though I don't remember which one. I guess the final battle will be between Tamarkan, well, final battle, with this episode, I mean. Since Boris is not going to help, we'll fight Tamarkan again with this army. Not at full HP, mind you, but his stack isn't full, though he does have the additional units out of the defenses here, so should still be a pretty fun go. Alright, close victory. Let's not fall for Tamarkan's shenanigans this time, and let him reach our lines. Let's destroy him for good.
If I can craft the finest of machines, I can command you, rabble. Fear not, for you are safe in my hands.
It's been far too long since we've heard about them crafting the finest of machines. Anyway, here we go. I'm expecting a pretty darn good battle out of this. The enemy outnumbers us A, we're damaged B. This map is not particularly good for us C, for a number of reasons. One, this is generally not a good map for artillery. There are way too many tree lines everywhere, a bunch of hills and trees that prevent you getting a good firing solution. There is a decent position back here, but the more we blob up, the more likely we get hit by those nurgling bombardments, which, as we've seen before, will wipe out a single unit that they hit, and if they hit two, then they'll wipe out two as well. So that's a problem. The trees and the hills also make it a problem for our outriders to get good sort of angles to fire on the enemy, but also to escape after they do, so they're going to have to deal with that aspect. And lastly, this is a small map. The maps do differ in size, and the enemy is deployed rather close to us, so we won't be able to harass them nearly as long with this army as we otherwise might. Plus, of course, Tamarkan is still here, but all of that tells me that we should be getting a pretty darn solid battle. Anyway, as usual, the battle starts off with our outriders, both amethyst and regular alike, ripping the enemy apart, or at the very least those enemies that they can. Nurglings, demons, chaos warriors, anything that we can hit with those grenades, really. Over on the center, and then on the flanks, we're trying to knock out the enemy skin wolves and better targets for the outriders with regular guns. Tamarkan is making his way forth, and oh, he's also immune to contact effects, so unfortunately that means we can't slow him down. What we can do, though, is stop him directly by popping a net of Amantok, and I know I said I wouldn't do this, but I decided to have pretty much everything fire upon him, or at the very least like 80% of our army fire upon him while he was stopped. Whether this works out this time around, we're going to have to wait and see. He's down to 5,000 HP, which would still be a lot on another Lord. And he's still got his healing. He's moving forward again, but it looks like this time the damage will be able to tell, and he will fall rather than get to us. That said, that does mean the rest of his army has had much greater an opportunity to move towards us, and we are certainly looking like we're going to get hit. And we already did get hit with that darn nurgling bombardment on one of our units of Ice Guard with glaives, who are going to back off and hopefully provide some support here, and hopefully not get hit again, because they will obviously get destroyed. On the bright side, though, that didn't delete an artillery piece. On the less bright side, we have very limited melee in this particular army, and we need it for other purposes. Skin Wolves down to 8 speed. Oh man, you gotta love that slow stacking. 8 speed on Skin Wolves is pretty darn crazy. They can barely move. Speaking of barely moving, poor Mornhowl. Poor Mornhowl. Oh my lord. Getting knocked back by all those cannons while he got trapped with a net of Amantok as well. That said, the enemy army is here. The Bile Trolls moving together with some Pestigors and Marauders of Nurgle, and it looks like it's some Chaos Spawn as well. Ice Guard are going to have to try to hold them back as best they can here in the limited numbers that we have. A Beast of Nurgle is also distracting these units of Ice Guard, and by the looks of it, we do very little damage to said Beast in melee. Of course, our Outriders are still riding around on the background, trying to harass as many enemies as possible. The grenades still coming down from our Amethyst Outriders as well, who we can push into melee in a pinch if our unit of Ice Guards or units of Ice Guards shall fail. Our cannons have finally switched to Grape Shot just to try to reduce the enemy numbers a little bit faster, as our Ice Guard are very much being overwhelmed by the sheer tide of enemies and the fairly significant number of monstrous units. I decided to land the Light Wizard here as well, because we can provide that aura that he has to bolster our defenses or our ward saves, as well as the fact that he does have that Tormentor sword active that he can use. Once again, the enemy has activated a Greater Gate of Nurgle via one of the cultists that is in the midst of this fray, and the Great Unclean One will move forth to try to go after our Lord here, who's down to about half HP, while holding back this side of melee troops. Once again, this army is really built for fighting one enemy army at a time, as well as fighting from a distance and slowing the enemy down, which we didn't quite get to do here, but it is giving us a heck of a fight. Our 2 units of engineers and one of our, wherever he is, I lost, oh there he is, one of our witch hunters trying to snipe some of the enemy bile trolls, or at the very least prevent them from returning to the fray. We've also pushed out with our units of Outriders and our war wagons as well, so that we weren't sort of clustered up here, and so we could fire into the backs of these units. Our melee line is very close to collapsing, the Ice Guard down to 20 units, although they will have By Our Blood activate. Still might mean they die. I missed it, but also the enemy used, we still have the marks, we don't. The enemy used another of those Nurgling bombardments on our units. Specifically, it used it on the Ice Guard that were bunched up around the Beast of Nurgle. So if you ever yourself feel bad about using a ability on the AI when it gets bunched up around a single unit, maybe don't feel so bad, because the AI is willing to do the same if it can manage it. It will 100% take advantage of that. Looks like the Ice Guard are starting to break, but at the same time, so is the enemy army, or maybe break is the wrong word for our Ice Guard, as we simply send them back. The Great Unclean One is still in the fight, but with all of those Outriders firing into it, it should be brought down relatively quickly. There we go. Nice bloody volley. Chaos Spawn will fall, and 1 Chaos Spawn will be the last remaining unit on the field, and with that, the battle will be ours. Certainly a lot closer than a lot of battles that we've fought. It was certainly getting very, very dangerous out there. One of our Witch Hunters got absolutely wrecked trying to help hold the line. He was just fighting in melee a little bit and doing very little damage at that. But as I've said before, I don't really like the Witch Hunter heroes. They're kind of trash, and while Accusation is a decent ability, they generally, in my opinion, aren't really worth the slot in the army, since you can get so much more mileage out of the out of a witch hunter than a, or not a witch hunter, a warrior priest than a witch hunter. Once again, I think that to fix them, they need a mount, A, and B, maybe even give them cunning as like a normal ability, like a toxin of some kind, so that they can have poison bullets as well, and just to have a source of poison available for the Imperial Army. I don't think it'll make them overpowered, it'll just make them reasonably decent enough to periodically bring. Anyway, a Pyrrhic victory for us, but a great fight and a great last stand for Tamarkan, who we will not be seeing again as his faction is destroyed. Alrighty, very nice fight. That worked out well, essentially getting us a very good final last stand battle for Tamarkan, especially considering this was the best chance that he was probably going to get to kill off our army. He had a lot of advantages there, the terrain did not favor us by any means, nor did the size of the battle map, as it was one of the smaller maps, and thus it gave us a major disadvantage for the army that is supposed to slow the enemy down and make sure that they take the longest time to get to us. Plus, we are still missing one of the 2 Hellblaster volley guns, which means we only had the one source of suppression, and thus missing a decent amount of the slowdown that we're reliant on. Of course, he still had that Nurgling bombardment ability, which deleted 2 of our units of Ice Guard off field, and that's another disadvantage as well. But nonetheless, the army did still stand. A little bit of damage on them, certainly. A Pyrrhic victory due primarily, I would say, to those Nurgling bombardments, but that's just the name of the game when you're fighting Tamarkan. Great job to Iwarts here, who got 18k damage and 114 kills, only lost out to one of the 2 Amethyst Outriders and one of the Great Cannons in terms of kills as well. Got to love the Engineer Lords with those tank mounts of theirs. Schematic 700, not too bad either. I believe, wait, do we loot and occupy? I mean, we have money. I also don't know how, no, we have move, yeah, okay, let's second. We have move available. I'm still disappointed in Boris for not attacking with us. But oh well. Maggot host destroyed. Very, very nice, and now we're coming up upon Grimgor's territories here. And not that we are particularly threatened by him, frankly, at this point in the game. Let's see. We take a look at diplomacy and strength rankings. The next most powerful factions, Karazakarak, Khemri, and Ivres, are all either our allies or are friendly. With us, Grimgor is the only one that remains decently strong, and I wager he's going to start suffering a little bit as he is at war with all of the with all of our dwarven allies nearby. Although if you keep bringing dwarf warriors like this, there's a decent chance that that won't be super successful for you. On the other hand, once the Legion of Asgore are destroyed, everybody will start pushing to kill Grimgor, maybe even the Cathians as well. Nah, I was about to say, I think they're programmed never to go north of the Great Bastion. I wonder if that's still the case. I remember it being the case that Cathay just never ever went up here, and I'm curious as to whether that is, well, still the case. Yeah, anyway, 3,500 schematics means... Well, this is all maxed out, and the last point is right here. Missile explosion radius plus 30% of the Amethyst Outriders. Almost all of our schematics, but this completes maxing out the Imperial Gunnery School completely. Somebody suggested we might max out the stock of these just for the final battle with Elspeth. Maybe get a few more of the Amethyst Ironsides for Gelt as well. I would like to get him a battle or two with those... tanks and the Luminarchs of his, though it looks like Greasy is trying to move around to go after Valley of Horns rather than the Maugate, which is also interesting, but we'll deal with him. And though we will deal with him next time around as we're out of time, so I'm going to have to call it here. Next time, whether it be on this channel or on the second channel, we hope to knock out Drajuath, link up our armies to destroy Nagaron for good, and start heading into the Cult of Pleasures territories in the north. The Hmong are one territory away from destruction. We can start on Grimgor and Goldtooth alike as well. Stay tuned for more Elspeth. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.